Beneath the towering pyramids and sprawling plazas of ancient Mesoamerica lies a secret world, one that has remained hidden for centuries. Miles of twisting tunnels snake beneath these legendary cities, concealing mysteries that have baffled archaeologists and explorers for generations. Picture this: you're standing atop the Pyramid of the Sun, sunlight blazing overhead, unaware that just beneath your feet, a massive underground passage stretches into darkness, its purpose lost to time. These aren't just empty corridors, they're gateways to forgotten rituals, royal tombs, and maybe even the underworld itself. From the water-filled caverns of Chichen Itza to the celestial observatories buried below Monte Albán, these tunnels whisper secrets of a civilization that mastered engineering, astronomy, and the sacred arts long before modern history began. Some were built to honor the gods, others to channel rivers or escape invaders, but all of them hold clues to a past we're still struggling to decipher. Today, we're venturing into 25 of these hidden labyrinths, where stone-carved gods guard silent chambers and legends warn of spirits lurking in the shadows. By the time we're done, you'll never look at these ancient ruins the same way again. So grab your flashlight, we're going underground. Now, let's take our first step into the shadows with the Great Tunnel of Teotihuacan. Hidden beneath the Pyramid of the Sun, one of the largest structures in the ancient world, this passage stretches over 300 feet into the earth. Imagine descending into a corridor so precisely aligned that during certain celestial events, like the equinoxes, sunlight pierces the darkness in perfect alignment with the tunnel's axis. Archaeologists believe this wasn't just an engineering marvel, it was a sacred pathway designed to connect the physical world with the spiritual realm. The tunnel itself is a masterpiece of Mesoamerican craftsmanship. Its walls, carved from volcanic rock, slope downward at a meticulous angle, leading to a series of chambers deep underground. Inside, researchers have uncovered offerings fit for the gods, jade figurines, ceremonial knives, and even the remains of big cats, possibly jaguars, symbolizing power and divinity. But here's what's truly fascinating. The tunnel mirrors the layout of Teotihuacan's celestial map. Its path aligns with the Pleiades star cluster, a group of stars revered by Mesoamerican cultures as a symbol of renewal and creation. Some scholars argue this tunnel was more than just a ritual space. It might have been a reenactment of the underworld itself, where priests and pilgrims journeyed to commune with ancestors or deities. Others suggest it served as an astronomical observatory, its alignment acting as a calendar to mark agricultural cycles. Whatever its purpose, one thing is clear: this wasn't just a hole in the ground. It was a bridge between worlds, a place where science, religion, and myth intertwined. And as we move deeper into these hidden networks, remember, each tunnel holds a piece of the puzzle, waiting to reveal how these ancient civilizations saw the universe. Now, let's journey from the dry volcanic tunnels of Teotihuacan to the watery depths of Chichen Itza, where the sacred cenote hides secrets beneath its emerald surface. This natural sinkhole, known as the Well of Sacrifice, was more than just a water source. It was a gateway to the underworld, Xibalba, in Mayan cosmology. But what's even more intriguing are the hidden tunnels that snake beneath it, connecting the cenote to temples and other sacred sites above. These submerged passageways were once walked by priests and pilgrims, their walls echoing with chants and ceremonies. Imagine the scene. Offerings of gold, jade, and even human lives were cast into the cenote's depths, believed to appease Chok, the rain god, or to communicate with ancestral spirits. Modern archaeologists have dredged up treasures from the murky bottom: ceremonial knives, intricate masks, and the bones of young men and women, some showing signs of ritual trauma. But exploring these tunnels isn't for the faint of heart. Unlike the dry corridors of Teotihuacan, these are flooded, dark, and choked with centuries of silt, making every dive a race against time and oxygen levels. What makes these tunnels so remarkable is their engineering. The Maya didn't just rely on natural caves, they expanded them, carving stairways and chambers into the limestone, some leading directly to the base of El Castillo, the pyramid that dominates Chichen Itza. One theory suggests these tunnels were symbolic pathways, mirroring the journey of the sun as it dipped below the horizon each evening, only to emerge reborn at dawn. Others argue they served practical purposes, like channeling water during droughts or providing secret access for elites during ceremonies. But uncovering these mysteries comes with risks. Divers must navigate tight, debris-filled passages where a single wrong move could dislodge centuries-old sediment, obliterating clues in an instant. Yet, despite the challenges, each discovery rewrites our understanding of Mayan spirituality. From jade beads etched with celestial symbols to skulls arranged in cryptic patterns, every artifact whispers of a culture that saw water not just as life, but as a sacred bridge between worlds. And as we'll see next, not all tunnels were meant for the living. Some, like those beneath Palenque, were designed as eternal resting places for kings. Now, let's leave the watery depths of Chichen Itza and step into the shadowy halls of Palenque, where the Temple of Inscriptions guards one of the most astonishing secrets of the Maya, the tomb of Pakal the Great. This towering pyramid isn't just a monument, it's a gateway to the underworld with a hidden stairway that plunges deep into the earth, revealing a burial chamber untouched for over 1,300 years. The discovery of this passage in 1952 by archaeologist Alberto Ruslulia was nothing short of revolutionary. After clearing debris from the temple floor, his team uncovered a stone slab hiding a steep, corbel-vaulted staircase filled with rubble. It took 4 years of painstaking excavation to reach the bottom, where they found Pakal's sarcophagus, adorned with one of the most intricate carvings in Mesoamerican history. The lid of the sarcophagus is a masterpiece depicting Pakal reclining on what some interpret as a cosmic tree, surrounded by celestial symbols, but this imagery has sparked fierce debate. To some, the scene shows Pakal's soul journeying through the cosmos, his body cradled by the world tree, a central symbol in Mayan mythology connecting the underworld, earth, and heavens. Yet others, like Swiss author Erich von Däniken, famously claimed the carving resembles an ancient astronaut piloting a spaceship, a theory dismissed by mainstream scholars but one that still captivates imaginations. The truth likely lies in Mayan cosmology. The imagery aligns with their belief in rebirth, with Pakal poised at the moment of his descent into Xibalba, only to emerge transformed, much like the sun each dawn. The walls of the tomb add another layer of mystery. 9 stucco figures, believed to represent the lords of the night deities governing the underworld, stand guard, their faces frozen in time. The tomb's orientation is no accident either. It aligns with the setting sun during the winter solstice, symbolizing Pakal's eternal connection to celestial cycles. Even the staircase itself is symbolic, mirroring the path of the sun's descent, with each step echoing the 9 levels of the Mayan underworld. What makes this tomb unique is its preservation. Unlike other royal burials looted over centuries, Pakal's chamber remained sealed, offering a rare glimpse into Mayan funerary practices. His jade death mask, intricate jewelry, and offerings of ceramic vessels paint a vivid picture of a ruler prepared for the afterlife. But the controversy doesn't end there. Some researchers argue the tomb was built before Pakal's death, suggesting he may have used it for rituals during his life, further blurring the line between tomb and sacred space. As we move deeper into these hidden tunnels, one thing becomes clear. The Maya didn't just bury their dead, they built portals to eternity. And next, we'll explore how Monte Albán's tunnels turned the Earth itself into an observatory, revealing secrets of the stars. Leaving behind the tomb of Pakal the Great, we now journey to the highlands of Oaxaca, where the ancient city of Monte Albán hides a subterranean secret, a network of tunnels that transformed the Earth into a celestial observatory. Built by the Zapotec civilization over 2,000 years ago, This hilltop city was more than a political powerhouse. It was a place where the heavens and the underworld converged. Deep beneath the stone plazas and pyramids lies a labyrinth of passageways that scholars believe were used to track the movements of stars, planets, and even the passage of time itself. The most striking feature of these tunnels is their alignment. Unlike the winding corridors of Palenque, Monte Albán's passages were designed with mathematical precision to frame specific astronomical events. One tunnel, for example, points directly toward the star Capella, which held profound significance in Zapotec cosmology as a marker of the agricultural cycle. Another aligns with the setting sun during the equinoxes, casting a beam of light that illuminates a carved altar deep underground, a moment that would have signaled the arrival of planting or harvest seasons. These alignments weren't accidental. The Zapotecs were master astronomers, and their tunnels served as both calendars and sacred spaces where priests could commune with the gods. But how did they achieve such accuracy without modern instruments? The answer lies in their deep understanding of the landscape. Monte Albán's architects used the natural contours of the hill to anchor their calculations, blending human ingenuity with the Earth's own geometry. The tunnels themselves are engineering marvels, carved through solid rock with stone tools and reinforced with plaster to prevent collapse. Some passages even feature ventilation shafts that double as sightlines for observing the night sky, proving that every detail had a purpose. The spiritual dimension of these tunnels is just as fascinating. In Zapotec belief, the underworld wasn't a place of darkness but a realm of primordial energy, a source of life and renewal. By building observatories beneath the earth, they bridged the gap between the celestial and the subterranean, mirroring their view of the cosmos as an interconnected whole. Artifacts found in the tunnels, including incense burners, jade beads, and ceramic vessels, suggest rituals honoring deities like Casijo, the rain god, whose storms were predicted by reading the stars. One tunnel, known as the Gallery of the Dead, offers a haunting clue to these practices. Its walls are lined with niches containing human remains, likely those of priests or nobles who guided these celestial ceremonies. For the Zapotecs, death wasn't an end but a transformation, much like the cycles they tracked in the sky. As we emerge from these star-lit passages, it's clear that Monte Albán's tunnels were more than scientific tools. They were sacred instruments woven into the very fabric of Zapotec life. And next, we'll descend into the watery depths of Tikal, where the Maya turned engineering into an art form, carving tunnels that tamed the jungle itself. Now let's venture into the heart of the Guatemalan jungle, where the ancient Maya transformed a landscape of relentless rains into a masterpiece of hydraulic engineering. Beneath the towering temples of Tikal lies a hidden web of tunnels, not for stargazing or rituals, but for taming water itself. While Monte Albán's tunnels reached for the heavens, Tikal's architects looked downward, solving a problem that still challenges engineers today: how to thrive in a place where deluges could drown a city in hours. The secret lies in Tikal's reservoirs, interconnected by a labyrinth of underground channels. Unlike the ceremonial tunnels we've explored, these passages were all about function. The Maya built them to capture, store, and redirect rainwater with precision. During the rainy season, when storms could dump over 3 meters of water in months, the tunnels acted like a subterranean highway, funneling torrents away from plazas and into massive reservoirs. Some of these tanks held over 30 million liters, enough to sustain tens of thousands of people through the dry months. But here's what makes Tikal's system extraordinary: it wasn't just about survival. The Maya turned water management into an art form. Their tunnels featured intricate filters made of volcanic sand and limestone, purifying water as it flowed. Gradients were calculated so precisely that even today, engineers marvel at how the system avoided erosion or blockages, and the reservoirs, they weren't hidden away. The grandest ones sat at the base of temples, doubling as ceremonial pools where rulers performed rituals, linking their power to the life-giving resource. One tunnel, discovered beneath the Lost World Pyramid, reveals another clever trick. By layering clay and plaster, the Maya created waterproof linings that prevented leaks. Elsewhere, overflow channels zigzag to slow water's momentum during storms, a technique modern cities now mimic to prevent flash floods. Archaeologists even found pressure breakers, small chambers where water would swirl before continuing, reducing the force that could damage walls. Perhaps the most startling discovery came in 2012 when LiDAR scans revealed tunnels stretching beyond the city center, connecting to distant Aguada's natural sinkholes adapted into emergency reserves. This wasn't just a local solution, it was a regional network proving the Maya plan for droughts that could last years. Inscriptions hint that controlling water wasn't just engineering, it was politics. Rulers who maintained the system gained loyalty while failures sparked rebellions. As we step away from Tikal's damp shadows, remember, these tunnels weren't just pipes in the dirt. They were the veins of a civilization that refused to let nature dictate its fate. And next, we'll see how another culture turned tunnels into a stage for the deadliest game in Mesoamerica. Now let's leave the waterlogged world of Tikal behind and step into the shadowed corridors beneath El Tajín's ball courts, where the stakes weren't flood control but life and death itself. While modern sports have locker rooms, this ancient city built tunnels that served as portals to the underworld. Picture this, players descending through dark passageways before emerging onto the court, reenacting the cosmic battle between day and night with every strike of the rubber ball. The ballgame wasn't just sport to the people of El Tajín, it was sacred theater, and these tunnels set the stage. Archaeologists found 6 subterranean passages radiating from the main court, their walls coated in stucco once painted blood red. Unlike Tikal's practical canals, every inch here brimmed with symbolism. The longest tunnel runs directly beneath the court's center line, mirroring the path of the sun through the underworld in Mesoamerican belief. Players may have used it to resurrect after the game, symbolizing the sun's rebirth at dawn. What they left behind tells a chilling story. In 2017, researchers uncovered niches along the tunnel walls containing shattered pottery, not careless breaks but deliberate acts. Each ceramic bore markings of the rain god Tlaloc, suggesting vessels were ritually smashed to summon life-giving storms. Even more striking were the offerings, carved stone yokes, once worn as protective belts during games, buried alongside obsidian blades. Some blades showed traces of human blood, hinting at ceremonies where victory and sacrifice intertwined. But the true revelation came deep under the south ball court, where a narrow staircase descends to a chamber lined with 11 carved panels. These show players transformed into swirling clouds of butterfly souls released through the ballgame's sacred violence. Nearby, a stone marker depicts a victorious player holding not a trophy, but a decapitated head. This wasn't metaphor. Excavations found skulls with cervical vertebrae still attached, proof of ritual beheadings linked to the tunnels, the most haunting discovery. A small side tunnel packed with over 300 rubber balls in varying states of decay. Infrared analysis revealed they contained human ashes, likely from cremated players or sacrifices. For the people of El Tajín, these tunnels weren't just infrastructure, they were the veins connecting this world to the next, where every game echoed the eternal cycle of death and renewal. As we climb back into the sunlight, remember, while Tikal's tunnels sustain the body, El Tajín's fed the soul. And next, we'll descend into a maze where the Zapotec believed the living could walk with the dead. Now we journey beyond the ball courts of El Tajín to a place where the very walls whisper of the afterlife, the labyrinth beneath Mitla, known to the Zapotec as Layaba, or place of rest. If the tunnels we've seen so far were roads to the underworld, Mitla's passages were its grand foyer, a sacred threshold where the living could commune with the departed. Beneath Mitla's ornate mosaic courtyards lies a subterranean puzzle that has baffled explorers for centuries. Unlike the straight ceremonial tunnels of Teotihuacan or the watery cenote passages of Chichen Itza, This is a true maze, narrow corridors twisting at sharp angles, dead ends appearing without warning, and chambers that seem to shift position when mapped. Spanish chroniclers wrote of priests leading the bereaved through these tunnels to speak with ancestors, their voices echoing strangely as if the walls themselves answered. What makes Mitla's tunnels unique is their construction. While most Mesoamerican passages were carved from bedrock, these were built from precisely fitted stone blocks, each engraved with intricate geometric patterns called grecas. These designs aren't mere decoration, they mirror the folds of a sacred fabric believed to wrap the dead in the afterlife. In 2019, archaeologists using ground-penetrating radar discovered that the patterns continue into hidden chambers, some containing bundles likely holding remains still shrouded in centuries-old textiles. The legends surrounding these tunnels are as layered as the maze itself. Local Mixtec elders speak of a guardian, a spectral figure called the Chaink, who tests intruders with riddles. Those who answer correctly may pass, while those who fail find themselves wandering endlessly. There's chilling evidence to support this lore. In 2014, researchers found a side chamber containing 7 skeletons seated in a circle, their bones showing no signs of trauma. Beside them lay ceramic bowls holding obsidian mirrors, tools used by Zapotec priests to see into the spirit world. Perhaps most intriguing is what lies at the labyrinth's heart. Early 20th century explorers described a central chamber with walls that hum when wind passes through ventilation shafts, a phenomenon the Zapotec may have interpreted as ancestral voices. Recent acoustic studies confirm the tunnels amplify specific frequencies, particularly tones matching human speech patterns. This wasn't accidental engineering. The builders likely designed it to create otherworldly echoes during rituals. But the labyrinth holds one final secret. In 2021, a team discovered a previously unknown tunnel leading downward from the main complex. Unlike the orderly upper passages, this one appears unfinished, its walls rough and its floor littered with broken incense burners. At its end, a sheer drop into darkness, a feature eerily matching 16th century accounts of a bottomless pit where priests communed with gods. LiDAR scans suggest it connects to a natural cave system, possibly the physical inspiration for the Zapotec underworld itself. As we navigate back toward sunlight, consider this. Where El Tajíin's tunnels celebrated the cycle of death and rebirth, Mitla's labyrinth embraced the stillness beyond. And ahead lies an even grander underground network, one that didn't just connect sacred spaces but entire cities. Leaving behind the shadowy whispers of Mitla's labyrinth, we now step into the sunlight only to discover that the ancient Maya didn't just build tunnels for the dead. They engineered an entire underground highway system for the living. At Coba, a sprawling city in the Yucatan jungle, the Maya carved more than 50 Sacbiob-raised white limestone roads across the landscape. But what's truly remarkable is how many of these white ways plunge beneath the earth, connecting cities like hidden arteries. Unlike the ceremonial tunnels we've explored, Coba's underground Sacbiob were pure logistical genius. Imagine a road stretching over 100 kilometers, roughly the distance from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia, but with entire sections designed to vanish beneath the forest floor. Archaeologists have mapped at least 16 subterranean segments, some wide enough for 2 processions to pass comfortably. These weren't cramped crawl spaces, but engineered corridors with vaulted ceilings, lined with plaster so smooth it still gleams when exposed to light. The construction techniques defy expectations. Workers mixed lime plaster with tree sap to create a waterproof binder, then layered it over packed rubble. But here's the twist. Instead of digging down, they often built up, by piling stones along existing jungle paths, then encasing them in plaster. They effectively buried the roads under artificial ridges. This kept travelers cool in the sweltering heat and concealed routes from rival cities, a strategic masterstroke. Trade thrived in these hidden corridors. Excavations have revealed traces of cacao beans, jade fragments, and even marine shells from distant coasts embedded in the plaster, suggesting merchants moved goods underground to avoid bandits or tariffs. One tunnel near Koba's main pyramid still holds pottery fragments stamped with glyphs from Tikal, proof of a secret trade alliance spanning hundreds of kilometers. Communication traveled these roads too. Runner stations called choltuns dotted the route where couriers could pass messages without surfacing. In 2017, researchers found a sealed chamber beneath Sakbi number 1 containing bark paper bundles, likely diplomatic dispatches preserved by the dry underground air. Some bear the emblem of Calakmul, Koba's powerful ally, hinting at covert political maneuvering, yet the Sakbiob's greatest secret lies in their alignment. While surface roads follow terrain, underground segments run unnaturally straight, often aligning with solstice sunrises or Venus cycles. This wasn't just practical, it transformed travel into ritual. Picture merchants walking in darkness, then emerging precisely as dawn lit a distant temple, turning a commercial journey into a celestial spectacle. Today, less than 20% of Koba's underground network has been explored. LiDAR scans suggest some tunnels branch toward the coast, possibly linking to ports that traded with Teotihuacan. As we prepare to delve into Xochicalco's stargazing caves, remember, these hidden roads weren't just infrastructure. They were the Maya's silent symphony of stone, binding cities together under the very earth they worshipped. Now, as we shift our gaze from the practical genius of Koba's hidden highways, let's ascend to a place where the Maya and Teotihuacanos merged science and spirituality in stone. High in the mountains of Morlos, the ruins of Xochicalco hold a secret, a network of tunnels and chambers designed not for trade or travel, but for unraveling the mysteries of the cosmos. Xochicalco's Cave of the Astronomers is no ordinary tunnel. Carved into the bedrock beneath the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, this subterranean observatory allowed priests to track celestial events with astonishing precision. The centerpiece, a vertical shaft piercing the cavern's ceiling, perfectly aligned to capture the sun's rays during the summer solstice. When sunlight streams down this narrow tube at noon on June 21st, it illuminates a carved marker on the floor, a cosmic calendar etched in stone. But the ingenuity doesn't end there. Smaller ventilation shafts dot the tunnel walls, each corresponding to the rising positions of key stars like Sirius and Aldebaran. Archaeologists believe these openings served as a celestial checklist, helping timekeepers predict agricultural cycles and sacred ceremonies. What makes Xochicalco truly fascinating is its cultural crossroads. Built after Teotihuacan's decline around 550 AD, the site blends Mayan mathematical precision with Teotihuacano architectural grandeur. The tunnel walls bear glyphs in both styles, including a rare Mayan-style numeral system used alongside Teotihuacan's iconic warrior iconography. One chamber even houses a stele depicting a meeting between rulers of both civilizations, likely a record of knowledge exchange. The tunnels also reveal a pragmatic side to stargazing. Unlike open-air observatories, Xochicalco's underground design stabilized temperatures, preventing heat distortion from skewing observations. Pottery shards found inside chambers suggest priests used water-filled basins as primitive mirrors to reflect celestial events onto darkened walls, creating a makeshift planetarium. But the most haunting discovery came in 1992, when researchers uncovered a series of handprints in red ochre along one passageway, possibly left by initiates undergoing vision quests in the pitch-black tunnels before emerging to read the stars. Today, only 3 of Xochicalco's 7 known astronomical tunnels are fully excavated. LiDAR scans hint at deeper chambers aligned with Venus's 8-year cycle, a phenomenon sacred to both Maya and Teotihuacano cosmologies. As we prepare to descend into Calakmul's military tunnels, remember, at Xochicalco, the boundary between earth and sky dissolved. Here, the ancients didn't just watch the heavens, they brought them underground. Leaving behind the celestial wonders of Xochicalco, we now journey deeper into the jungle-clad ruins of Calakmul, where the Maya didn't just study the stars, they built an underground fortress. Beneath the soaring pyramids of this once mighty city lies a shadowy network of tunnels, not for stargazers but for warriors and kings. Calakmul's tunnels were the ultimate strategic weapon. Stretching over 5 kilometers beneath the city's core, these passages connected temples, reservoirs, and even distant satellite settlements. But unlike Xochicalco's cosmic observatories, these corridors served a far more earthly purpose: survival. Archaeologists have found evidence that Calakmul's rulers used these tunnels to move troops unseen during their bitter wars with Tikal. Hidden staircases led from royal palaces directly to military outposts, allowing commanders to deploy forces without alerting spies. One recently mapped tunnel runs straight from the throne room to a camouflaged exit near the city's eastern wall, a perfect escape route during sieges. The engineering here is as clever as it is ruthless. Sections of the tunnels feature sudden drops or false dead ends, likely designed to trap pursuing enemies. Carved niches in the walls held torches, but their placement reveals another trick. Light was staged to create confusing shadows, disorienting invaders unfamiliar with the labyrinth. Most chilling are the whisper tunnels, narrow, curved passages where sentries could overhear approaching footsteps from 50 meters away, then relay warnings through a system of hollowed-out stalactites that acted as natural amplifiers. But Calakmul's underground wasn't just about war. Beneath the Temple of the Jaguar Throne, excavators uncovered a secret chamber lined with jade tiles, possibly a wartime command center where rulers monitored battles via messengers running through the tunnels. Nearby, a spiral staircase descends to an artificial spring, suggesting the Maya stockpiled water underground during droughts or blockades, the most haunting discovery. A branch tunnel filled with over 300 spear points, all meticulously stacked, as if preparing for an underground last stand. Recent LiDAR scans reveal the system's true scale. At least 12 major tunnels radiate outward like spokes, some leading to hidden reservoirs, others to remote jungle clearings possibly used as rally points. One passage even connects to a nearby cenote, suggesting an emergency water source during prolonged conflicts. As we emerge from Calakmul's martial underworld, remember, while Xochicalco's tunnels reached for the heavens, these were built for Earth's darkest struggles. Next, we'll see how Uxmal's elites turned tunneling into an art of political theater. But for now, consider this: in Calakmul's shadows, the Maya didn't just hide. They prepared. Shifting from Calakmul's warrior tunnels to the elegance of Uxmal, we find a different kind of power play unfolding underground. Beneath the governor's palace, a masterpiece of Puuc-style architecture with its intricate latticework and soaring facades, lies a network of passages that reveal how the Maya elite turned secrecy into spectacle. These tunnels weren't designed for survival but for influence. Archaeologists believe Uxmal's rulers used them to stage dramatic appearances during ceremonies, emerging suddenly from hidden doorways to reinforce their divine connection. One passage runs directly beneath the palace's central throne room, ending at a cleverly disguised exit near the grand staircase. Imagine a ruler materializing as if from thin air, framed by the morning sun hitting the palace's geometric carvings, a calculated display meant to awe visitors. The Puuc builders' genius shines in how they hid these passages in plain sight. The palace's distinctive mosaics, featuring over 20,000 individually carved stones, incorporate subtle gaps that serve as ventilation shafts for the tunnels below. Even the famous rain god masks adorning the walls have hollow eyes and mouths that funnel air into the underground, keeping the corridors cool and dry. During recent restoration work, researchers discovered acoustic tricks too. The tunnel's corbelled arches amplify whispers from certain angles, allowing rulers to overhear conversations in the courtyards above. But the most revealing find, a branch tunnel leading to a private sweat bath lined with rare green jade tiles. This wasn't just a spa for the elite, it was a ritual space where rulers purified themselves before major decisions. Nearby, a narrow stairway descends to a chamber filled with shattered incense burners, suggesting intense ceremonial activity. LiDAR scans show the system extends beyond the palace, connecting to lesser-known structures like the House of the Turtles. One theory suggests these were escape routes during coups, but the lack of weapon caches implies a different purpose. The tunnel's clean limestone walls, adorned with occasional red handprints, point to their use in initiation rites, perhaps where new leaders pledged oaths in the underworld's symbolic darkness. As we step back into Uxmal's sunlight, notice the contrast to Calakmul's martial tunnels. Here, power wasn't just about force, it was about mystery, the artistry of appearing and disappearing, leaving crowds to wonder where their rulers truly came from. Next, we'll see how volcanic forces shaped Cantona's tunnels, where nature itself became an architect. But for now, consider this: in Uxmal, even the underground was designed to dazzle. Leaving behind the carefully crafted tunnels of Uxmal, we arrive at Cantona, where nature itself provided the blueprint for underground warfare. Unlike the Mayas' hand-carved passages, this fortified city in the highlands of Puebla took advantage of something far more dramatic: ancient lava tubes formed by the Zittel volcano thousands of years earlier. Imagine rivers of molten rock solidifying into tunnels, later repurposed by Cantona's builders into a defensive labyrinth unmatched in Mesoamerica. Cantona's volcanic tunnels offered a brutal advantage. The city's strategists didn't just use these tubes, they enhanced them, widening narrow sections into ambush points and carving hidden staircases that connected to fortified walls above. Archaeologists have identified at least 15 major lava tube networks, some stretching over half a mile. The longest runs beneath the Acropolis, where rulers could vanish into the earth during attacks, reappearing through vents near the ball courts to rally defenders. These weren't just escape routes, but psychological weapons. Enemies would hear whispers echoing from the blackened basalt walls, never sure where the next attack might come from. The tunnel's natural properties made them ideal for warfare. Unlike man-made corridors, the lava tubes retained cool temperatures even in summer, allowing defenders to store supplies without spoilage. Their uneven floors, rippled by ancient lava flows, created natural trip hazards for invaders unfamiliar with the terrain. Most ingenious were the false ceilings, where Cantona's engineers thinned sections of rock above key passages. If breached, these would collapse, trapping attackers under tons of rubble. Excavations have revealed charcoal marks along certain walls, suggesting defenders used smoke to disorient enemies while navigating the maze. Recent excavations uncovered something even darker. Near the Plaza of the Skulls, researchers found a lava tube branching into 3 chambers filled with obsidian blades and the remains of at least 30 individuals. Unlike ritual sacrifices, these bones show defensive wounds, likely prisoners forced to fight as gladiators in underground arenas before being executed. The tube's acoustics amplify sound, meaning crowds above could hear the clashes beneath their feet. What truly sets Cantona apart is how it weaponized geology. While other cities built tunnels, Cantona's warriors studied the lava tube's natural choke points, reinforcing them with stacked stone barriers. LiDAR scans reveal they even redirected seasonal rainwater into certain tunnels, creating moats that turned dry passages into death traps during storms. By the time attackers reached the citadel, they'd already survived a gauntlet of natural and engineered horrors. Standing in Cantona's silent ruins today, you can still feel the genius of its adaptations. The volcanic glass underfoot isn't just rock, it's the remnants of a battlefield where humans turned the Earth's violence into their shield. Next, we'll descend into a very different kind of underworld, the painted tunnels of Bonampak, where art and history collide beneath the jungle floor. But here, remember, at Cantona, even the ground was a soldier. Now we journey from the volcanic battlegrounds of Cantona to a place where art and mystery intertwine beneath the jungle canopy Bonampak. Here, beneath the Temple of the Murals, lies a network of hidden passages that whisper secrets of Mayan royalty and their ceremonial world. Unlike Cantona's weaponized tunnels, these corridors were designed not for war, but for the sacred, a stage for rituals immortalized in some of the most vivid frescoes ever discovered in the ancient Americas. The Temple of the Murals is famous for its 3 rooms of breathtaking paintings, but few realize what lies beneath them. In the 1940s, archaeologists uncovered a narrow stairway hidden behind a false wall, descending into a tunnel system that mirrors the temple's layout above. These passages weren't just practical, they were symbolic, acting as a physical bridge between the earthly realm and the underworld. The murals above depict scenes of courtly life, battles, and sacrifices, but the tunnels below suggest how these events might have been staged. For example, one fresco shows a ruler receiving captives. Directly beneath it, researchers found a chamber with manacles still attached to the walls, hinting at where prisoners were held before their dramatic presentation. What makes Bonampac's tunnels unique is their intimate connection to art. The walls of some passages bear faint traces of pigment, as if artists prepared their paints here before ascending to decorate the temple. In one tunnel, a niche contains grinding stone stained with the same vibrant blues and greens used in the murals, evidence of a sacred workshop hidden from public view. Even more intriguing, acoustic studies reveal that certain chambers amplify sound perfectly toward the temple's main courtyard. This suggests ceremonies may have included unseen performers, chanters, or drummers whose voices seem to emerge from the earth itself. The frescoes offer clues to the tunnel's purpose. One panel shows a royal procession moving toward a pyramid, while figures emerge from what appears to be a cave mouth at its base. Archaeologists now believe this depicts performers or priests using the tunnels to make sudden, dramatic appearances during rituals. Recent LiDAR scans support this, showing the tunnels extend beyond the temple to connect with nearby structures, allowing elites to move unseen during ceremonies. But Bonampac's underground holds darker mysteries too. In a sealed side passage, excavators found a cache of broken musical instruments, flutes, and drums intentionally shattered. Mayan texts describe killing objects to release their spirits. This might have been part of a ritual to silence the underworld's echoes after a sacred event. Nearby, a hidden alcove contained 9 obsidian blades arranged in a star pattern, their edges still sharp. These weren't tools but ceremonial objects, possibly used in auto-sacrifice rites where rulers drew their own blood to commune with ancestors. The most startling discovery came in 2019, when a team mapping the tunnels found a previously unknown chamber beneath the temple's central room. Its walls were bare except for a single painting, a black jaguar poised to leap, its eyes following you no matter where you stand. Jaguars symbolize the night sun's journey through the underworld, and this hidden image suggests the entire tunnel system might have been seen as a cosmic map. The chamber's floor slopes downward, leading to a blocked passage that may point toward other undiscovered spaces. Bonampac's tunnels remind us that for the Maya, the boundary between art and reality was fluid. The murals weren't just decorations, they were portals, and the tunnels beneath brought their stories to life. As we pull back from this painted underworld, our next stop takes us to an engineering marvel where water and wisdom flowed together. The flood control tunnels of Edsna, where ancient hydraulics defy time. Leaving the painted underworld of Bonampac behind, we now arrive at a testament to Mayan brilliance, not in art but in water. The ancient city of Edsna, rising from the dense Campeche jungle, harbors an underground network so advanced it rivals modern plumbing. While most Mesoamerican tunnels served spiritual or defensive purposes, Edsna's labyrinth was purely practical, a life-saving answer to nature's fury. Edsna's name means House of Echoes, but it could just as well mean House of Engineers. The city sits in a natural basin, making it prone to devastating floods during the rainy season. Rather than abandon the site, Mayan builders devised an ingenious solution, a grid of underground channels that transformed floodwaters from threat to resource. Using gravity and precise slopes, these tunnels diverted excess water to reservoirs and agricultural fields, turning a death trap into a breadbasket. The system's sophistication stuns modern hydrologists. Main tunnels wide enough for two people to walk abreast branch into smaller capillaries that fed every neighborhood. Stone gratings filtered debris, while spillways regulated flow to prevent overflow. But the true marvel lies in the gradients. Engineers carved the tunnels with a consistent 1-degree downward tilt over miles, ensuring water moved swiftly without erosion. Recent studies using 3D modeling show the system could handle the equivalent of a once-in-a-century storm, a feat unmatched until the industrial era. Evidence suggests these tunnels doubled as emergency routes. During excavations, archaeologists found not just tools but also ceramic lamps and food caches inside chambers, hinting at their use during prolonged floods. One tunnel even leads to a dry chamber beneath the city's main pyramid, stocked with jugs of freshwater, a fail-safe for elites. This duality of function, flood control, and survival shelter reveals how Edsna's planners anticipated disasters holistically. What cements Edsna's legacy is its sustainability. Unlike modern concrete channels, these tunnels were lined with porous limestone, allowing excess water to seep into aquifers and replenish groundwater. Inscriptions near the tunnels describe annual maintenance rituals where citizens cleared blockages, a rare glimpse of communal labor outside royal decrees. Today, parts of the system still function after 1,500 years, channeling rains away from excavated ruins. But Edsna holds one last puzzle, a tunnel sealed with a carved stone slab depicting Chok, the rain god. When opened in 2017, it revealed a vertical shaft descending 60 feet to an underground lake. Sonar scans show the lake connects to distant cenotes, suggesting the Maya mapped karst waterways long before geologists. Some researchers believe this was more than a water source. It might have been a spiritual pressure valve, where offerings to Chok were meant to balance the rains. As we marvel at this ancient ingenuity, our path now leads to a site where tunnels served a far deadlier purpose, the defensive trenches of Bikon, where war lurked beneath every step. Moving from the life-saving waterways of Edsna, we now step into a world where tunnels held power over both the living and the dead. The ceremonial tunnels beneath Kapon's hieroglyphic stairway weren't just passageways, they were the sacred veins of a dying kingdom, pulsing with rituals meant to stave off collapse. Kapon, once a jewel of Mayan civilization, is famed for its towering stairway carved with over 2,000 glyphs, the longest known Mayan text. But beneath this stone manuscript lies a darker story. In the late 8th century, as drought and political strife crippled the city, rulers turned to the underworld for salvation. Archaeologists discovered a network of tunnels radiating from the stairway's base, their walls scorched by centuries of ritual fires. These weren't engineering feats like Edsna's channels, but desperate acts of devotion. The main tunnel runs directly beneath the stairway, aligning with the path of the sun during the winter solstice. At its end sits a vaulted chamber containing the remains of at least 30 people, not haphazard burials, but arranged in concentric circles around a central dais. Forensic analysis reveals these weren't sacrifices, but revered ancestors. Their bones show signs of periodic handling, suggesting they were brought out during ceremonies, perhaps to commune with rulers. One skull, painted with blue jade dust, bears marks matching descriptions in glyphs of a king, consulting the bone wisdom. What makes these tunnels unique is their direct link to Kapon's downfall. The uppermost layers contain hurriedly placed offerings, crude clay figurines, half-finished jade beads dating to the city's final decades. Normally, Mayan rituals grew more elaborate over time, but here quality plummeted as resources dwindled. Most poignant is a tunnel sealed around 900 AD with a single, perfect obsidian knife stuck vertically into the floor, a last-ditch attempt to feed the underworld as crops failed above. Recent LiDAR scans revealed these tunnels extend far beyond the Acropolis, connecting to residential areas. This suggests ordinary citizens may have participated in the rituals, not just elites. In one side passage, archaeologists found hundreds of fingerprints pressed into soft clay, adults and children alike, as if the entire city sought to leave a mark before vanishing. As the glyphs on the stairway warn, the ancestors' path is trodden with sorrow. Capon's tunnels stand as a haunting testament to how deeply the Maya believed in the underworld's power and how far they went to bargain with it. Now our journey takes us to a site where tunnels served the living in the most literal sense, the royal crypts of Yaxchilan, where rulers walked with gods. Leaving behind the desperate rituals of Capon, we arrive at a site where tunnels were designed not just to connect with the dead, but to celebrate their power. The royal crypt tunnels of Yaxchilan are a masterpiece of Mayan artistry and engineering, a hidden world where kings walked alongside gods. Nestled in the dense rainforest along the Usumacinta River, Yaxchilan was a city of strategic brilliance, but its true secrets lie beneath the grand plazas. The tunnels here differ sharply from Capon's. These were carefully planned passageways, lined with carvings so precise they seem alive in flickering torchlight. Discovered in the 1980s, the main stairway descends over 100 feet into the limestone bedrock, leading to a series of chambers that served as the final resting place for Yaxchilan's rulers. What sets these tunnels apart is their storytelling. Every inch is carved with scenes of royal ascensions, battles, and divine encounters. One panel shows King Shield Jaguar III emerging from the jaws of a serpent, symbolizing his rebirth as a deity. Another depicts Queen Ixchel, his wife, summoning rain by piercing her tongue with a stingray spine, an act mirrored in bloodletting rituals performed above ground. The carvings aren't mere decoration, they're a roadmap to the afterlife, guiding rulers through the underworld's trials. The tombs themselves are architectural marvels. Vaulted ceilings mimic the night sky, with star patterns painted in Maya blue, a pigment so vibrant it still glows after 12 centuries. Each sarcophagus sits atop a stone throne carved with caiman heads, representing the watery underworld. But the most striking feature is the acoustics whisper a prayer at the entrance, and it echoes as if amplified by the gods. Archaeologists believe this was intentional, designed to make rituals feel divinely witnessed. Recent excavations uncovered something even more extraordinary: hidden side tunnels connecting the crypts to living quarters. These weren't escape routes, but private access for priests and heirs. In one, a child's footprint was preserved in clay, likely left during a rite of passage. Another tunnel ends abruptly at a carved doorframe. Beyond it lies an uncharted chamber, its contents still a mystery. Yaxchilan's tunnels remind us that for the Maya, death wasn't an end but a transformation. As the glyphs proclaim, the king does not sleep, he dances with the stars. Now we turn to a site where tunnels served a far more practical purpose, the moat-like defenses of Bikon, where survival meant outsmarting invaders. But while Yaxchilan's tunnels celebrated the afterlife, the ancient Maya of Bikon took a far more pragmatic approach. They built trenches not for the dead but to keep the living safe. Nestled in the lush forests of Campeche, Bikon's name literally means ravine formed by water. And its most striking feature isn't a pyramid or palace, but a massive, dry moat encircling the city's core. This wasn't just any ditch. Stretching over 2 kilometers in a rough oval, the trench plunges nearly 50 feet deep in places, with steep, vertical walls cut directly into limestone. But here's the twist. Beneath this moat runs a hidden labyrinth of tunnels, their purpose revealed only in the 1970s when archaeologists noticed unnatural air currents rising from cracks in the bedrock. These passages weren't ceremonial, they were a deadly game of cat and mouse designed to outwit invaders during the turbulent Preclassic period, around 300 years before the Common Era. Unlike Yaxchilan's ornate crypts, Bikon's tunnels are raw and functional. Narrow, twisting corridors branch unexpectedly, some ending in abrupt drop-offs or dead ends. Others connect to camouflaged exits behind structures, allowing defenders to flank attackers. The engineering is ingenious. Rainwater channels built into the walls prevented flooding, while raised stone speed bumps forced intruders to slow down, making them easy targets for archers positioned above. But the real stroke of brilliance: deception. Some tunnels lead directly into kill zones, open chambers where invaders would find themselves trapped under a hail of spears. Clay pots found in these spaces still bear traces of chili powder and quicklime, suggesting defenders may have thrown choking smoke bombs to disorient enemies. Meanwhile, hidden staircases allowed Becon's soldiers to vanish and reappear elsewhere, sowing confusion. Evidence points to these defenses working all too well. Excavations uncovered mass graves filled with skeletons bearing projectile wounds, many piled near tunnel exits. One grim discovery was a group of warriors from distant Tikal, identified by their dental decorations, likely casualties of a failed siege. Yet Becon's own population dwindled suddenly around 250 years into the Common Era. Some scholars theorize the tunnels became a liability. In peacetime, maintaining them drained resources, and without constant upkeep, parts collapsed, cutting off vital water routes. Today, walking Becon's overgrown moat, it's eerie to imagine the chaos these tunnels once contained. The silence is punctuated only by howler monkeys, a far cry from the shouts and clatter of ancient warfare. But press your ear to the ground near certain spots, and you might catch the hollow echo of empty spaces below, remnants of a system that kept a city alive through centuries of conflict. Next, we venture to a site where tunnels held not weapons, but whispers of the divine. The oracle's brick-lined passages of Comalcalco. Now we move from the battle-scarred trenches of Becon to a place where the underground world was less about war and more about wisdom. Comalcalco. Unlike any other major Mayan site, this city stands out for one striking feature. It was built almost entirely of bricks, and beneath its towering structures lies a network of tunnels that may have served as the sacred stage for some of the most mysterious rituals in Mesoamerica. Comalcalco, meaning House of the Comal in Nahuatl, sits in the steamy lowlands of Tabasco, where the Maya chose an unusual building material: fired clay bricks. But these weren't just practical. Many bricks bear cryptic inscriptions, and some tunnels below the temples are lined with them, their surfaces etched with symbols scholars are still deciphering. The most intriguing of these subterranean passages lies beneath the site's main acropolis, a brick-lined corridor that curves like a serpent before ending abruptly at a small, windowless chamber. Here's where the mystery deepens. Unlike the utilitarian tunnels of Becon, this space shows no signs of battle or storage. Instead, archaeologists found traces of copal resin and obsidian mirrors, tools linked to divination. In Maya cosmology, caves and tunnels were portals to the underworld, places where shamans could commune with ancestors or glimpse the future. The chamber's acoustics amplify even a whisper, suggesting rituals may have involved chants or echoed prophecies. One particularly compelling clue: a brick near the entrance bears a glyph depicting a figure with one hand raised, a gesture associated with oracles. Nearby, niches in the walls held ceramic bowls containing charred remains of sacred plants like morning glory, known for its psychoactive properties. This has led some researchers to propose that the tunnel was a vision quest site, where priests ingested ritual brews to induce trances, then interpreted their visions as messages from the gods. But Comalcalco's tunnels held another secret. In 2012, scans revealed a previously unknown passage branching toward a natural sinkhole. Local lore speaks of a hidden pool where oracles read the ripples of thrown stones, much like the later Aztec practice of hydromancy. While the tunnel's collapse has prevented exploration, the alignment suggests the Maya engineered their sacred geography carefully, blending human-made and natural features for spiritual purposes. What makes Comalcalco extraordinary is its blending of innovation and tradition. The bricks, unusual for the Maya, show adaptability, while the tunnels reflect timeless beliefs about the underworld's power. Today, visitors can still see the faint glyphs on exposed bricks, reminders of a time when these passages hummed with the voices of seekers and the whispers of gods. Next, we journey to a tunnel system that fueled an empire, not with prophecies, but with precious salt from the mines of Sacapulars. Now let's shift from the whispers of prophecy in Comalcalco to a tunnel system that fueled an entire civilization, not with visions, but with something far more tangible: salt. Deep in the highlands of Guatemala, beneath the rugged terrain around Sacapulars, lies an underground network that was once the lifeblood of the Maya economy. These weren't just tunnels, they were ancient factories where the precious mineral was extracted and traded across Mesoamerica. Salt was more than a seasoning for the Maya, it was a currency, a preservative, and a sacred substance. The tunnels of Sacapulars, carved into the earth centuries ago, revealed just how sophisticated their extraction methods were. Workers descended into narrow shafts, using stone tools to chip away at salt-rich deposits, then hauled the mineral up in woven baskets. But what's truly remarkable is the scale. Some tunnels stretch for hundreds of meters, branching like roots beneath the surface, with ventilation shafts to keep the air fresh for laborers. Archaeologists have found evidence of a highly organized system. Ledges along the tunnel walls held oil lamps, their soot marks still visible today, while grooves in the floors suggest sleds or ropes were used to transport heavy loads. The salt wasn't just mined here, it was processed. In nearby chambers, hearths and grinding stones show where the mineral was purified and packed into bricks or cakes, ready for trade. These standardized forms made it easy to transport, some even bear ceramic stamps like ancient branding. The trade routes radiating from Sacapulars were legendary. Salt from these tunnels reached as far as Tikal and Capan, carried by porters along the same sakbiab or white roads we've seen in other cities. It was swapped for jade, obsidian, and cacao, weaving Sacapulars into the fabric of Maya commerce. But the tunnels also held spiritual significance. Offerings of pottery and figurines found at tunnel entrances hint that miners prayed for protection before descending into the underworld like darkness. One chilling discovery underscores the dangers of this work: the remains of a young adult buried in a collapsed tunnel with a broken lamp nearby. It's a stark reminder of the human cost behind this vital industry. Yet the legacy of Sacapulars endures. Even today, local families still harvest salt using traditional methods, a living link to their ancestors' ingenuity. This underground world wasn't just about survival, it was about power. Control of the salt trade meant influence, and the tunnels of Sacapulars were the engine of that influence. Next, we'll uncover a hidden entrance that wasn't just a passageway, but a celestial timekeeper, the tunnels of Chaltern. Now, let's turn our attention from the bustling salt mines of Sacapulars to a place where tunnels weren't just practical, they were portals to the cosmos. Nestled in the lowland jungles of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, the ancient city of Chaltern hides a network of tunnels that blend water, worship, and the stars in ways that still leave archaeologists in awe. At the heart of this mystery is the Temple of the Seven Dolls, a structure so named for the eerie ceramic figurines discovered beneath its floor. But the real magic lies underground. Tunnels here don't just connect buildings, they link the temple to sacred cenotes, those natural sinkholes the Maya revered as gateways to the underworld. Imagine walking through a dimly lit passage, knowing it was designed not just for movement but for celestial alignment. Every spring and autumn equinox, something extraordinary happens at Chaltern. As the sun rises, its light pierces straight through the temple's doorway, travels down a hidden tunnel, and illuminates the cenote's dark waters. This wasn't accidental. The Maya engineered these tunnels with precise astronomical knowledge, creating a live map of the heavens beneath their feet. The effect is breathtaking, a beam of sunlight transforming the cenote into a mirror of the sky, as if the boundary between worlds had dissolved. Archaeologists have mapped these tunnels, revealing their deliberate alignment with solar events. The passages aren't just straight lines, some curve subtly to account for seasonal shifts in the sun's path, proving the Maya understood celestial mechanics far beyond mere observation. Even more intriguing, the tunnel's walls bear faint carvings of stars and constellations, suggesting they doubled as teaching tools for aspiring priests. But Teotihuacan's tunnels held more than ceremonial significance. The cenotes they accessed were lifelines in this arid region, providing water so precious it was considered divine. Excavations have uncovered offerings tossed into these pools: jade beads, gold ornaments, even human remains, all gifts to the gods in exchange for rain and fertility. One tunnel, partially collapsed today, once led to a secluded cenote where only elites could perform rituals, reinforcing their connection to the divine. What makes Teotihuacan truly special is how it layers function and faith. Unlike the industrial tunnels of scapulas, these passages served as both aqueducts and observatories, proving the Maya saw no divide between science and spirituality. As we'll see next, that fusion of practicality and mysticism reaches new heights in the tunnels beneath Palenque, where stucco masks keep watch over the underworld. But hidden beneath the lush canopy of Quintana Roo lies Palenque, where tunnels aren't just pathways, they're portraits of power. Here, beneath the Temple of the Masks, the Maya carved a subterranean gallery unlike any other, with stucco faces of rulers staring eternally into the darkness as guardians of the underworld. Walking into these tunnels feels like stepping into a royal portrait hall frozen in time. Towering nearly 3 meters high, the larger-than-life masks flank the passageways, their features so meticulously crafted you can still trace the intricate headdresses and jade ear flares commissioned by kings. These aren't mere decorations. Each mask represents a specific ruler, their exaggerated facial features, arched noses, almond-shaped eyes, designed to declare divine lineage. Archaeologists believe the tunnels served as a processional route during royal funerals, where mourners would pass these ancestor portraits before delivering nobles to their final resting places deeper underground. The engineering here is as symbolic as it is structural. Unlike Teotihuacan's celestial alignments, Palenque's tunnels angle downward deliberately, mimicking the descent into Xibalba, the Maya underworld. The air grows cooler as you go deeper, the walls narrowing slightly, a sensory trick to heighten the feeling of entering another realm. But the real marvel: the masks themselves, made from limestone plaster mixed with tree sap for durability. Their pigments were imported from distant lands: cochineal red from Oaxaca, Maya blue from Campeche. This wasn't local artisanship, it was a political statement showcasing the kingdom's far-reaching trade networks even in death. Recent excavations revealed something startling. Beneath the largest mask, scientists found a hidden chamber containing 9 obsidian blades arranged in a cosmic pattern. This was no random offering. In Maya cosmology, 9 was the number of layers in the underworld, and obsidian symbolized both warfare and spiritual passage. Combined with the masks, it suggests these tunnels hosted rituals where rulers communed with ancestors to legitimize their power, a divine endorsement carved in plaster. What makes Palenque extraordinary is its duality. While Teotihuacan's tunnels bridged earth and sky, these passages connected the living with the dead. The masks weren't passive art, they were active participants in ceremonies, their hollow eyes possibly fitted with polished pyrite to reflect torchlight, creating the illusion of watchful spirits. Even today, their presence is unnerving. Caretakers report hearing whispers in empty tunnels, a reminder that for the Maya, these weren't just corridors but conduits to the unseen. As we'll discover next, not all tunnels served the dead. In Nakam, engineers turned underground chambers into celestial mirrors, proving the Maya could harness nature's laws as deftly as they honored its gods. Now let's turn our attention to Nakam, where the Maya didn't just build tunnels, they turned them into cosmic instruments. Hidden beneath this ancient city lies a network of tunnels that functioned like a giant observatory, using water to mirror the heavens above. Unlike Kohenlik's ancestor veneration or Dzibel-Chaltun's alignments, Nakam's tunnels reveal a stunning intersection of science and sacred ritual. At first glance, these passages seem ordinary, narrow, stone-lined corridors winding beneath temples. But step inside during the dry season, and you'll notice something extraordinary. The floors dip into shallow basins designed to hold water, creating still pools that reflect the night sky with perfect clarity. Archaeologists believe priests used these water mirrors to track Venus, the Moon, and even the Milky Way without needing complex above-ground structures. The effect is hauntingly beautiful. When torches were extinguished, the star-filled water would have shimmered like a portal to the cosmos, blending astronomy with spiritual awe. The engineering here is as precise as it is poetic. The tunnels align with specific celestial events: solstices, equinoxes, and Venus's appearances, with angled walls funneling light or casting shadows at key moments. One chamber, dubbed the ecliptic room, contains a pool positioned so that the reflected path of the sun during equinoxes forms a straight line across its surface. This wasn't just observation, it was prediction. By monitoring these reflections over generations, the Maya could anticipate celestial cycles, timing rituals and agricultural events with uncanny accuracy. But Nakam's genius doesn't stop there. Recent LiDAR scans revealed hidden ventilation shafts above the pools designed to minimize ripples from wind, an innovation ensuring crystal-clear reflections. Even the plaster lining the basins contains tiny quartz flecks, subtly amplifying starlight. This attention to detail underscores how the Maya viewed the cosmos, not as distant phenomena, but as a living tapestry intertwined with daily life. A broken pottery vessel found nearby offers clues, decorated with star symbols and filled with mercury, a liquid mirror in its own right. It suggests priests may have used portable versions of these tunnels for rituals beyond Nakam's walls. What makes these tunnels unique is their duality. While other sites honored gods or ancestors, Nakam's tunnels served as both scientific tools and sacred spaces. The act of observing the heavens underground was itself a metaphor, the dark tunnels representing the void of creation, the reflected stars the spark of life. Modern astronomers confirm the accuracy of Nakam's alignments, noting that Venus's 8-year cycle appears perfectly tracked in the tunnel's carvings. As we'll soon discover, not all tunnels celebrated light. In the shadowy depths of Zots, the Maya worshipped a deity who ruled the darkness, proving their underworld was as richly imagined as their skies. Now we descend from the starry reflections of Nakam into a world of darkness and myth. Deep beneath the ruins of Zots lies a network of caves and tunnels that served as the sacred domain of Camazotz, the fearsome Mayan bat god. While Nakam's tunnels celebrated celestial light, Zotz's underground passages were shrouded in shadow, embodying the mysteries of death and the underworld. The entrance to this labyrinth is carved with chilling imagery: gap-toothed bat faces, their wings outstretched as if ready to swallow trespassers whole. Unlike the precisely engineered water mirrors of Nakam, these tunnels feel organic, following the jagged contours of natural caves, but don't mistake their roughness for simplicity. Every twist and turn was ritually significant. Archaeologists found bloodletting altars at intervals, their surfaces stained with traces of iron-rich hematite, mimicking the color of sacrificial blood. Camazotz wasn't just a symbol of darkness, he was a psychopomp, a guide for souls navigating the afterlife. The Maya believed these tunnels physically connected to Xibalba, their underworld. At the heart of the complex lies the Chamber of Echoes, where even a whisper reverberates unnaturally. Here, priests conducted rituals to commune with the dead, their voices distorted to sound otherworldly. Offerings found here are eerie jade beads shaped like bat wings, pottery vessels painted with skeletal figures mid-transformation, and most hauntingly, flutes carved from human bones. When played, their notes mimic the screech of bats. Recent excavations uncovered a hidden side chamber filled with the remains of sacrificial victims. Forensic analysis revealed something unexpected. Unlike typical war captives, these individuals show no signs of battle wounds. Instead, their bones bear marks of prolonged illness. This suggests they may have been willingly given to Camazots, perhaps in hopes of healing or safe passage to the afterlife. One teenage girl's skeleton was found adorned with a necklace of bat-shaped pendants, her hands clasped around a ceramic effigy of the god, a poignant glimpse into personal devotion amid the macabre. The tunnels themselves amplify the god's dual nature. Narrow crawl spaces force visitors to proceed on hands and knees, symbolizing humility before death, while sudden caverns open into vast rooms where stalactites resemble hanging bats. During summer solstice, sunlight penetrates a single shaft, illuminating a carved altar for mere minutes, a fleeting reminder that even in darkness, light persists. Zotz's tunnels remind us that for the Maya, death wasn't an end but a transition. As we'll see next, their underground networks weren't just spiritual. Some served very worldly purposes, like the jade trade routes weaving through the Motagua Valley. Moving from the shadowy rituals of Zotz, we now uncover tunnels that shimmered with the most precious stone in Mesoamerica, jade. Far from the realm of death gods, these hidden passages beneath the Motagua Valley served as the lifeblood of trade, connecting empires and fueling artistry across centuries. The Motagua River Valley in modern-day Guatemala was the sole source of high-quality jade for the Maya, Olmec, and other Mesoamerican cultures. But transporting this vibrant green stone across rugged terrain invited theft and warfare. The solution, an underground network of tunnels, some repurposed from natural caves, others dug by hand with obsidian tools. These routes weren't just practical, they were sacred. Jade, known as Yaxchichich or first/precious stone in Mayan, symbolized water, fertility, and the soul's breath. Moving it underground mirrored its journey from the earth's heart to the hands of kings. Archaeologists mapping these tunnels found evidence of sophisticated logistics. Narrow passages widen abruptly at intervals into storage chambers lined with reed mats where porters cached jade boulders during storms or raids. One such chamber near Capon still held raw jade chunks wrapped in decaying cloth, abandoned in haste. But the most revealing discoveries are the waystations, small alcoves with ceramic cisterns and charred remains of chili peppers. Traders likely used these spaces to rest and purify themselves ritually before handling the sacred stone. The tunnels also hid artistic secrets. In 2012, researchers in the Quirigá region uncovered a collapsed tunnel filled with jade workshop debris. Saw blades made of garnet sand, drills of hollow bird bones, and unfinished beads. This suggests craftsmen worked underground, possibly to guard techniques or shield the stone's spiritual essence from sunlight. Among the debris was a tiny jade owl, its wings partially carved as if the artisan fled mid-creation. Jade's value went beyond beauty. In the royal tomb of Tikal's King Jasor Chan Kayawil, his jade death mask contained quartz inclusions that glowed under torchlight, creating a flickering, living effect. Much of that jade likely passed through these tunnels, but the trade routes weren't reserved for elites. At the tunnel exit near Capon's outskirts, archaeologists found humble graves of traders buried with jade flakes, not crafted ornaments, but raw fragments perhaps kept as payment or talismans. What makes these tunnels unique is their duality. Unlike the ceremonial passages of Zotz or the hydraulic systems of Edzna, they blended commerce and cosmology. Jade moved in darkness to emerge transformed, just as the maze god, whose mythic journey through the underworld paralleled the stone's path from mine to masterpiece. As we near the end of our journey, one mystery remains: the rumored tunnels of the Olmec. the civilization that first prized jade over 3,000 years ago. Were they the original architects of this hidden network? That's where we're headed next. But before we close the book on these ancient passageways, let's venture into the deepest mystery of all the lost tunnels of the Olmec, Mesoamerica's mother culture. Long before the Maya carved their sacred routes, the Olmec laid the groundwork, quite literally, beneath their colossal stone cities. At La Venta and San Lorenzo, whispers of subterranean networks persist, though much remains buried both by time and the relentless jungle. The Olmec thrived over 3,000 years ago, and their influence rippled across later civilizations. But what's beneath their iconic colossal heads? Early 20th century explorers reported hollow sounds under San Lorenzo's platforms, suggesting voids. Modern ground-penetrating radar hints at sprawling tunnels, but jungle cover and fragile ruins have stalled full excavation. Some theories propose these passages connected ceremonial centers, mirroring the sacred Ballgame's underworld symbolism. Others believe they served practical needs, channeling rainwater or transporting basalt for sculptures from distant quarries. At La Venta, the clues grow tantalizing. In the 1950s, a worker digging near the Great Pyramid unearthed a perfectly square shaft lined with serpentine blocks. It dropped vertically for 30 feet before hitting water, its purpose still debated. Was it a well, a ritual portal, or the entrance to something grander? Nearby, magnetic surveys reveal anomalies snaking toward the pyramid's base, possibly tunnels aligned with celestial events, much like Teotihuacan's later designs. The most compelling evidence comes from artifacts. Olmec jade figurines, often depicting jaguars, have been found in cave systems far from settlements. These may hint at tunnel rituals, echoing the jade trade routes we explored earlier. Even more intriguing are the hidden face carvings, massive Olmec heads reburied face down, some with tunnel-like depressions at their bases. Were these markers for subterranean routes or guardians of thresholds to the underworld? Unlike later cultures, the Olmec left no deciphered writings. Their tunnels, if they exist, are silent, yet their legacy isn't. The Mayas' belief in sacred caves and the Aztecs' veneration of Tlalocan, the watery underworld, likely stem from Olmec roots. Even the placement of later cities atop cave systems like Capon's tunnels beneath its acropolis may echo Olmec urban planning. So why haven't we found definitive proof? The answer lies in the land itself. The Olmec heartland is a swampy, unstable terrain. Tunnels here wouldn't be stone-lined masterpieces, but muddy, reinforced trenches more vulnerable to collapse. Add centuries of floods and seismic shifts, and these passages may now be little more than ghostly imprints in the earth. Yet the search continues. In 2021, laser scans over San Lorenzo detected a buried, linear feature stretching half a mile. Could this be the spine of an Olmec tunnel system? Until archaeologists sink shovels into that damp soil, we're left with a haunting possibility that the earliest blueprints of Mesoamerica's underground world still lie hidden, waiting to rewrite history. And with that, we've journeyed through all 25 tunnels, from celestial observatories to jade highways, each revealing how ancient minds shaped the world beneath their feet. But what does it all mean? Let's tie these threads together. Now, with all these underground wonders laid out before us, let's take a moment to reflect on what these 25 tunnels truly represent. These aren't just ancient passageways, they're time capsules of human ingenuity, spirituality, and survival. From the hydraulic brilliance of Etzna's flood-controlled tunnels to the celestial precision of Monte Albán's underground observatory, each reveals how Mesoamerican civilizations mastered their environment in ways we're still unraveling today. Think about the sheer ambition behind Teotihuacan's Great Tunnel, stretching beneath the Pyramid of the Sun like an umbilical cord to the cosmos, or the haunting beauty of Palenque's Tomb Passage, where stairways spiral into darkness under carvings that still spark debate. These weren't just functional spaces, they were bridges between worlds, where rulers communed with gods and water mirrored the stars. Yet for every answer, there's a deeper mystery. Why did the Maya of Tikal build reservoirs underground while others channeled cenotes? What secrets still lie behind Mitla's labyrinth, where legends say spirits whisper? And let's not forget the Olmec. Could their rumored tunnels rewrite the origins of Mesoamerican engineering? Even with LiDAR and ground-penetrating radar, we've likely only scratched the surface. Here's something to ponder. If tunnels like Koba-Sakbiob connected cities across miles, who or what traveled them? Traders carrying jade, priests bearing prophecies, or armies moving unseen? And what about the tunnels we haven't found? With 90% of sites like Calakmul still unexcavated, every jungle mound could hide another entrance to the underworld. That's where you come in. Maybe you've visited these sites and felt the pull of their hidden depths. Or perhaps you've got a theory about the astronaut carving in Pakal's tomb, or those eerie bat god tunnels at Zot's. Drop your thoughts below. This is a conversation that's far from over. If you're planning to explore these places, remember, these tunnels survived centuries because they were respected. Stick to marked paths, support local guides, and never disturb artifacts. The best way to honor these ancient engineers, preserve their legacy for the next generation of explorers. Before you go, hit that subscribe button if you crave more deep dives into history's unsolved puzzles. Tap the bell so you won't miss our next adventure, because somewhere out there, another tunnel waits to be uncovered. Thanks for joining this journey through Mesoamerica's beating heart beneath the earth.